A part of the Great Bear Rainforest is the territory of Klemtu. This is the Kitasoo High territory on the central coast. It's very close to Bella Bella. They have a robust stewardship program in Klemtu. Again, they are increasing the number of guardian watchmen that they have in the park, eyes and ears on the water and on the ground. Unfortunately, the provincial's contribution to this area is a measly $20,000 budget. $20,000, Honorable Speaker. This is an area the size of countries, European countries. Switzerland comes to mind, and they have a $20,000 budget. They faced a 5% cut last year. Now we learn that we'll have 18 BC parks rangers for the entire province. And these people are tasked with providing conservation protection for the entire province. And here we are in the Great Bear Rainforest, no eyes and ears on the ground. No one doing science, no one collecting any baseline data, no one managing the increasing number of operators, tour operators, yachts, companies that travel from Alaska to Oregon. But now we have enshrined this Great Bear Rainforest Agreement. We promoted and endorsed and are celebrating ecosystem-based management. So we need to put our money where our mouth is, or the BC Liberal government needs to put their money where their mouth is and properly support monitoring and enforcement in this area. A big challenge for the Kitasoo High, and other First Nations in the Great Bear Rainforest is that they're doing all of the province's work, and they're not being included in decision-making. So let's honor the spirit of joint decision-making and let them have a voice at the table, and let's properly resource them. The province always has the final say. Issues in the Kitasoo territory, for example, in this area called Coots Inlet, increasing pressure in this area. It's in the northern part of the territory. There are way more operators. There, to quote the stewardship coordinator and now Chief Councillor Doug Niesloss, is that there's many boats and many people in the park are pushing bears around. Traveling boats up and down the coast from the United States, dropping crab traps and going fishing in the area. People really wanting to see bears, putting pressure on the bears. And it's clearly an area that needs attention, it needs monitoring, and yet there are no resources. The province has no capacity to deal with these problems. And the tour operators are actually contacting the First Nations and saying, you need to get here. You need to get here on the grounds. You need to do something. And it's the province's job. So if these First Nations are actually doing the work of the province, then let's resource them properly. And if we're not going to do so, let them be the decision makers. They have no say. And the problem with that, Honourable Speaker, is that unfavourable decisions have been made on the basis that we do not have enough information, meaning the province does not have enough information. However, the hardworking Guardians watchmen in Klemtu have that information. They have all kinds of information. They're doing all kinds of data collection. They have hundreds and hundreds of hours on the water, and yet none of that is available, or none of that is recognized. It's available. It's not recognized by the province as valid science. It's not respected. And so the province will say things like, well, we don't have enough information to make a decision or to make any sort of enforcement or to help manage the congestion going on in this part. Ultimately, the Kitasoo would like to see a joint decision-making process such as that the Haida Nation has with Parks Canada. The conservation management plans that are being developed are being developed by the Klemtu team, by the Kitasoo. They're doing all the work. And in the end, the province, the BC Liberal government, is collecting a parks fee from visitors and from the tour operators. So they're collecting a fee to manage the park. However, that fee is not going back into managing the park. Honorable Speaker, the fee, the monies that they're collecting, first of all, are they're minuscule, and they could easily, you know, generate some more revenue with increasing the cost. It's $1. But the money isn't even going back into managing the parks. It's going into general coffers. It's going into general revenue of the province. Now, I'll tell you this, the Kitasoo, they've developed a protocol agreement with the tour operators in their territory. It's a completely volunteer thing, yet the operators are all participating, and they pay their own fee to the Kitasoo. And guess what? The Kitasoo take that fee and they put it back into managing that area. They put it back into the job that they do. So, Honorable Speaker, as I said, there is much more we can do. The work that the Kitasoo are doing is a great example, and the Helsik and other territories within the Great Bear Rainforest are doing a tremendous amount of work, and they could use a lot of support from this province. And I hope that we do so, that we step up and we properly resource them and put substance to this agreement, and not just do lip service. Because I think the people that live here, live there in the Great Bear Rainforest, are looking for that. They want to see that this agreement is a real agreement, and that it's just not paper. It's just not hearsay. Lastly, I would just like to talk about the fact that we can't not include the marine environment with the terrestrial environment. We have terrestrial ecosystem-based management that's been embraced. Well, you cannot have ecosystem-based management which looks at the interconnectivity of the ecosystem without including the marine environment. So we need marine land use planning. And it needs to be together. It needs to be jointly addressed. And that would mean talking about oil tankers and increased ship traffic if LNG does come to fruition. A member opposite today went on and said, yes, say yes to Enbridge. Well, the people in the Great Bear Rainforest have said no to Enbridge, and that should be honored. You cannot have this protected site and cannot say that you care about First Nations values, and you cannot say you care about wildlife and ecosystem and economic values of the Great Bear Rainforest and have oil tankers plying the Inside Passage. It's not possible. We need to respect that decision. I'd like to conclude with the fact that...
Thank you, member.
Could I just conclude? Okay, thank you very much.